This is the tiny e-reader that made me fall back in love with reading. I was always an avid reader growing up. I remember running off earnestly to the library with my mum to borrow tons of books and enjoying them. However, now with a phone, gaming PC, laptops, books have been shoved aside and I replaced the charm of a good book with the endless dopamine doomscroll. For $70 however, I found the XTEINK X4, a minimal, highly customizable pocket e-reader that managed to make me pick up books more than I did my phone. Now there's two versions of the XTEINK X4 with different firmwares, and it depends on whether you buy it from the official American store or Chinese marketplaces such as AliExpress. Now I live in the land down under, so my one was from AliExpress, and I bought the 16GB model for $74, tax included, with free shipping from AliExpress. Surprisingly, the unboxing experience is decent for this price. It opens up like a book, you get your e-reader all wrapped up, and a box underneath it that houses all the accessories. The accessories box gives you a matte screen protector with provided wet wipes and a microfiber cloth, alongside the two magnetic adhesive rings compatible with MagSafe. And yes, the XTEINK X4 does support MagSafe. On the side, or in my case, outside of the box, they give you an SD card reader, and note that the SD card is pre-installed for you, but you can swap it out for anything you want. Surprisingly enough, there isn't a provided cable to charge the thing, or to directly flash firmware onto it. And yes, I know flashing isn't intended, but Crosspoint is basically universal for almost every device. Installing the screen protector is relatively easy. There are of course wet wipes and a microfiber cloth to get it squeaky clean before the matte screen protector is pressed on. Now, I'm an idiot, so I did get one speck of dust in the screen protector. Now, as soon as I got the XTEINK X4, I immediately got rid of the stock Chinese firmware and flashed Crosspoint onto it. Because the XTEINK X4 uses an ESP32 chip, a highly versatile board, it allows the community to easily create and flash their own firmware. Crosspoint is virtually the biggest one, and I'd recommend flashing it for your own XTEINK, because the stock firmware is pretty bare bones. There isn't much text formatting, language support, images can look terrible, and Crosspoint basically resolves or makes these issues much better, alongside adding a whole slew of new community-made functionality. Just note that the software in this review will be Crosspoint and not the stock firmware, since I believe it's just that much better. I'll put the link in the description on where and how to flash it, and while you're down there, like and subscribe if you want to see more tech reviewers like this. It doesn't hurt you. The reading experience on this e-reader, specifically Crosspoint, is actually pretty decent. The 480 by 800 resolution makes text clear, though I do notice even with anti-aliasing, you can notice a bit of jaggedness with the text. However, I never ran into any problems with the legibility and reading on it, so it gets a pass on me. The text formatting is consistent overall, there is decent paragraphing, italicizing, and support for special characters from different languages. There is no backlight, however, so you will need to have a reading light in darker environments. The software is compatible with EPUB files, meaning chapter navigation and just the general reading experience is clean. Now I'm sure many of you are wondering about images, and well, they work, but they don't look good. Images take a long time to load and they require 2 refreshes to fully flesh out the details, and even then, they aren't too great. I wouldn't recommend the XTEINK X4 if you primarily read image-heavy content, as the screen is too small and has too little detail. What I do like about this e-reader is that it uses physical buttons. I find that touch readers, you may accidentally swipe or click, but in this case, you get direct tactile feedback when scrolling between pages. Though I do have my gripes with the buttons. The front buttons are clicky and nice, but the side buttons feel cheap and aren't sturdy at all. Speaking on build, the XTEINK X4 is ridiculously pocketable and thin, measuring at 114 by 69 by 5.9mm with a 4.3-inch screen, and it weighs just 74 grams. This means it will fit into virtually any and every pocket comfortably. It is made of matte polycarbonate, so it doesn't feel too cheap, but it doesn't feel too premium either. Its main gimmick is that it's meant to be stuck on your phone via MagSafe, though I wonder why you want a distraction like your phone next to your e-reader. However, I did find the MagSafe rings provided to be especially useful in making a makeshift case with a pocketbook. There are a lot of cool custom-made cases I've seen on Reddit, and if you're feeling creative, you can save 20 Australian dollars by making your own case. But whether you decide to buy or make your own case, I'd say get a case either way. E-ink devices in general are notorious for being very fragile, and the XTEINK X4 is often reported to be shattered from even just a simple drop. Now, the XTEINK X4 has a 650 mAh battery, and that seems like a joke when you see smartphones today exceeding 5000 mAh. But because Crosspoint and e-ink displays are so battery efficient, this thing is a battery life king. I could read consistently for a week and see it drop only 30%, and it's advertised to only have roughly 2 weeks of battery life given 1 to 3 hours of use daily. From my testing, this thing absolutely sips battery. I rarely ever needed to charge it using the provided USB-C port. Now, I did mention the Crosspoint software before, and there's a reason why it's so popular amongst XTEINK X4 users. Its software is clean, it's minimal, and it makes book transfers and conversions seamless, using the e-reader's Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capabilities. It just makes the ebooks format so much better than the stock firmware, and it allows you to wirelessly manage files on the e-reader without needing to take out the SD card. It has Calibre integration to manage your books, co-reader tracking if you have a Kindle or Kobo already, and so many more customization options. Plus, I got really cool rotating sleep wallpapers that just look stunning, and don't worry, I'll link them down below. The performance of the XTEINK X4 is acceptable. Turning pages is relatively seamless, but you can see it struggle when loading images or large amounts of text. This is especially seen in that every new chapter, the device will have to index and cache everything to the SD card due to minuscule amounts of RAM present on the ESP32 chip. Overall, this is a fantastic little budget e-reader that does what it's meant to do right. Its sheer tiny size and accessibility makes me pull it out of my pocket more than my phone, and its reading experience is serviceable and its battery life is amazing. This is definitely one of those digital minimalism products, but it's also a viable alternative to pricey mainstream e-readers like the Kindle or Kobo, some of which are DRM locked and are difficult to jailbreak. If you're looking to cut down your phone usage or have an e-reader that actually fits in your hand, then the XTEINK X4 is for you.